Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Lindsay and thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to talk to you about my October wrap-up, all the books that I attempted or did read in the month of October this year. And then I'm also going to follow that up with my November TBR and my November goals for my YouTube channel. So let's get started. First, let's talk about my October wrap-up. All the books that I attempted to or did read in the month of October. The first two books I'm going to talk about were library checkouts, so I don't have a physical copy to show you. However, if I'm tech savvy enough, I'll try to post a picture of it. I doubt I'll be able to, but insert a picture here. There you go. The first book I checked out from the library was The Bone Witch. This follows our main character, T, who has the powers to bring the dead back to life through her bone witching, and she's in this school training to become a bone witch. And honestly, there's a reason I DNF'd this book. The magic system I really just couldn't get into because it's all about performing like dances and singing and instruments, which is pretty cool, but I just didn't buy it. And then 50% of the way through the story, nothing was really happening. There was only one plot point that really happened to the main character, and it was kind of boring. So DNF'd 50% of the way through. I'm not going to rate it on Goodreads because I feel like this was just a personal thing because I just didn't care for the story or the magic system really. The second book I checked out from the library this month was To Kill a Kingdom, and this is a YA fantasy retelling of The Little Mermaid. The beginning of this book is really phenomenal. I loved how dirty and gritty and bloody, really dark the story was because it's a siren. Let me tell you about the story. How about that? Follows our main character who, she's a siren and she's in training to become the Sea Queen. Every year on her birthday, she steals a heart from a prince. She rips it out of his chest while he's still alive and watches him die. And then she hides that heart underneath her bed for later. Kind of got boring in the middle, and then I wanted it to be dark and cruel the entire way through the story, but in the end, it kind of gets more lighthearted. So I was really hoping for a tragedy more than that. But anyways, I still enjoyed the story and the main characters. The one thing I really didn't like was the prince. He had two best friends that were dating, and they just drove me crazy because they acted like children the whole time. They were constantly hitting each other and like just picking on each other. And it was just, I understand there's relationships out there like that, but I don't care to read about them. So I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Again, like the beginning, kind of teetered out. The next book I attempted to read in the month of October this year was Strange Practice. This book is I believe it's an adult fantasy? I'm not sure if it's adult or YA. Regardless, we follow our main character, Dr. Helsing, Greta Helsing, and she is a doctor to all of the mythical creatures and everything that goes bump in the night. So werewolves, vampires, ghouls, mummies. She is their doctor. In the beginning of the book, we find out that somebody or a group of somebodies are attacking all of her patients. So Dr. Helsing decides that she's going to figure out who is killing all of her clients. This is the first book that I truly tried to annotate, as you can see from all my little stickies. And I feel like that might have taken away from the story, but it might not have either. I just really didn't enjoy it. I DNF'd this 153 pages in, not even 50%, but 153 pages in, and still nothing happened. And this story, it's a lot of telling you what they're doing and telling you what they feel instead of showing you. So I just could not get into it. And it's a real bummer because I made this fun reading log chart. It's one of the first ones I've made. I'm going to make them for all the books that I really enjoy reading so I can track when I'm actually reading it. and it also doubles as my cute little bookmark, and it keeps all of what my tabs meant for the story. So what color meant what. But I stopped reading and I don't want to continue. Also, something really strange, almost every single page has at least 5 to 10 or more italices, and it just really was bugging me. So another reason why I put it down. I really was hoping I loved this, but I didn't. So moving on. The next book I picked up in October, I picked up the book, read to page 174, and then put it down. Don't know why I put it down and haven't picked it back up. And that book is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy, and I was really enjoying the story and where it was going. You know, we followed our main character. She had just gotten her powers. No spoilers, because that's obviously in like the first 5 pages. But so I don't know. I'm just not in the mood for this big chunky fantasy, I guess, right now. So this is not a DNF. Not a DNF for sure. I will pick it up. I did enjoy it. Just needed something different. So to be continued. Next up, I read The Kiss Quotient. This book I absolutely loved. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It's an adult contemporary romance, or it might be new adult. I'm not sure. Not sure what the classification there is. But anyways, this follows our 2 main characters, Stella and Michael. Stella is a very successful 30-year-old woman who is into economics. However, she has Asperger's, so she doesn't have many close relationships with people outside of her family. And one day her mom says, "Hey, I want grandbabies." And so Stella, knowing that she has to get more comfortable with physical contact from other people, decides to hire an escort. And in comes Michael. Dreamy, dreamy Michael. And he is a Swedish Vietnamese escort. He's also just an amazing person and super sweet, super sexy. The steamy times in this book are really, really good. And the one thing that really gets me down about romances usually is when there's miscommunication, and the whole book and the whole conflict of the story is based on that miscommunication. And if the couple would just talk to each other, the whole book wouldn't even exist, right? I hate that in the story. This does not do that, and I love it. This one does have a couple miscommunications, but they're normal, new beginning, getting to know each other miscommunications. So I would highly, highly recommend this book. 5 out of 5 stars. The last 2 books I read in the month of October were graphic novels, and the first one was Nimona. This follows our main character, Nimona, who is a shapeshifter. She's also a morally gray character because she joins up with Lord Blackheart, who is the villain in the story. It's a really, really adorable story. The artwork is amazing. Nimona is a great character. I love learning about her powers and shape-shifting. It's also really funny, had me laughing out loud quite a few times. I really enjoyed this graphic novel. I read it really quickly. Like I said, art style's cute, characters are awesome. What more could you want? 5 out of 5 stars. The last book I read in October was a graphic novel, Fables, Volume 1. This graphic novel follows all of our fabled creatures like Snow White, the Big Bad Wolf, 3 Little Pigs. All those people have been exiled because they've been kicked out of their fairylands, I guess. They've been kicked out of their world, and now they have to live in modern-day New York as normal people. This follows Rose Red, Snow White's sister, who goes missing and is presumed murdered. So bring in the Big Bad Wolf. He's now a detective. He's chasing down who done it and all that good stuff. I really, really, really wanted to give this 5 out of 5 stars. I love the artwork. It reminds me of like the classic comic books that you'd find like, I don't know, in your brother's closet or something, or in yours. The characters are really great. The story, however, was predictable. I guessed what happened 5 seconds into the story, so maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just because this is an older graphic novel, so maybe it's just that, you know, that kind of mystery's been there, but this kind of mystery's kind of like a been there, done that thing. So I wanted to like it more, but I didn't. So I'm not going to carry on with this series. All right, that's it for my October wrap-up stuff. We are done with October, on to November. First, let's talk about my November TBR. Towards the end of this month, my husband and I are going to Spain for 2.5 weeks, and we get a bonus stay in Iceland. And I plan to bring everyone along and vlog our entire trip. It's gonna be difficult because I'm new at this, but I'm gonna just go for it and wing it. So this month for November, I'm gonna actually have 2 TBRs. The first one you're gonna see now is just my November TBR before Spain. And then my next TBR is going to be like, what books am I bringing to Spain or something like that. My traveling TBR. That's a good idea. The traveling TBR. All right. So first on my November TBR, I have Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This I have already read and completed, and you'll see that in my November wrap-up. This follows our 2 main characters, Victor and Eli, who are college roommates. Eli and Victor find themselves experimenting with near-death life experiences. Is that right? Yes, near-death experiences that result in special powers or extraordinaries, EOs. And so we follow our 2 characters and they basically make themselves into EOs, but you're kind of bouncing back and forth through the timeline. And so in the future, they're no longer friends and they're arch enemies. And you're trying to figure out how that happened, what's going to happen. I really love this book. It has short chapters. I flew through it. November TBR though, I'll tell you more about my wrap-up. Next book on my November TBR is Unwind by Neil Shusterman. The premise of this book is there's been a second civil war and the Bill of Life has been signed. The Bill of Life caters to both pro-life and pro-choice people. Between the ages of conception to 13 years old, children are not allowed to be aborted or unwound until they reach 13 to 18. Their parents or legal guardians can have them aborted or unwound. So basically, all of their organs get removed and transplanted into other people. The child's not really dying, they're just body parts continue to live on through other people, which I don't personally agree with, but I'm sure that's why it's such a good story. So I just started this, I'm only a little bit in. It's grabbed my attention right off the bat and I'm excited to continue reading. Next on my November TBR is Down Among the Sticks and Stones. I picked this one because it's relatively short. I can breeze through it. I read the first book in this series, Every Heart a Doorway, last month, so the story is still fresh in my mind. This follows our 2 main characters, Jack and Jill. They're twin sisters. And if you haven't read the first book, I can't really tell you more about the second book, but it just follows them in their beautiful world. The first book in this series, like I'm sure you've heard, follows children who have been to magical worlds or through magical doorways or portals or something like that, but they cannot go back. They either lost their door, got kicked out, or the door closed forever. All these kids are trying to cope with not being able to go back to the most awesome place in the world. I'm really excited because Jack and Jill's story is pretty dark and disturbing. Can't wait. The last 2 books I have on my November TBR are graphic novels, and I'm gonna go pretty quickly because I talked about these in my October book haul. So the first one is Saga, Volume 9. I got this when it first came out. I've just heard that it's broken quite a few hearts and I haven't really had the guts to dive into it yet, but I'm going to this month since it's short, sweet. I can breeze through it before Spain. The last graphic novel I want to read this month is Fairyland Volume 4. This is the last volume in the series. Again, I've been putting it off because it's the last volume in the series and I'm bummed that this is going to end. It's so dark and disturbing. If you haven't checked it out, definitely look into it because it's a great graphic novel if you like really dark graphic novels, dark, gritty, raunchy, and sparkles. I think you'll like this graphic novel series. All right, so that's done with my November TBR. Just one more thing I want to talk about are my November Booktube goals and YouTube goals. So October, like I said, was a really bumpy month for us. We had a lot of personal things happen. I started this channel, so my first goal for November is to stay consistent. I really wanted to put out videos before this, but you know, life happens. So I want to keep working on my consistency to at least put out 2 videos a week. We'll see. My last goal for November, yes, I only have 2 goals, make it easy on myself, is to vlog my Spain travels and a little bit of Iceland travel. So again, that goes hand in hand with consistency. I really want to be consistent, film every day, post when I say I'm gonna post, and make sure I capture as much as I can about our Spain adventures, since I'm pretty sure it's gonna be awesome. And obviously I'm super excited. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more from me in the future, hit that subscribe button down below. Again, my name's Lindsay. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you later.